Watching the news this morning, something reminded me of a phrase that I feel like I've heard before. We must pass this bill to see what's in it. What am I talking about? Well, it wasn't that long ago, 12, maybe 15 years ago. Country was in another crisis, and the Speaker of the House made a proclamation that we must pass this bill to find out what's in it. Well, it seems to me, here we are again. Obamacare was passed last day of the year, Christmas time, Christmas Eve, without really knowing the details what was in it. It was rushed. It had to pass before Christmas. We couldn't take it another day, and it was done by the same people, seems like, the same Speaker of the House. But those people never leave, did they? As we have today. So what is going on in Washington today and how this turns out? Obamacare price tag was anywhere $800 billion to $1 trillion. Stimulus passed in 2008. Again, our economy was in shambles and banks were collapsing and whatnot. About $800 billion. We were promised that that was going to save the economy and fix all the ills that we were experiencing. Well, 800 billion, wow. You could have bought lunch back in the day. Now it doesn't go very far. So today we're talking about 2 trillion. That's with the 2 with the T. Well, what does that buy us? As I record this video, we don't quite know the details, what's in the bill. I hope things are not as bad as I think they're going to be, but even under the best of circumstances, there are a couple of points I like to highlight, especially for young people, and where this is all going, and what you are about to find out in not too distant future. A couple of years ago, the news report showed us this beautiful project, a massive tunnel, 34 miles, I believe, tunnel between Switzerland and Italy. Cost $10 billion. And well, wow. But 34 miles, 10 billion, yeah, do the math. Probably not bad. And especially if the Swiss are building it, you know it's gonna be good, but it's gonna be expensive. So if you follow the math, 800 billion should build 80 of those tunnels. Wow. Or maybe just one connecting New York and LA. I don't think there is one yet, but I could be wrong. So they told us 800 billion is going to put so many people back to work. We're going to have so many new runways and bridges, and I don't know any new runways we built or new airports or anything like that. So where did money go? Where does money usually go? A big spending when the government is involved. Well, let's see what's in the at stake this time around. The latest bill in the Senate and the House, they're talking about $2 trillion plus, bailing everybody and everything. And of course, you can never divide fairly anyway. So, but what's in it? Well, we don't quite know. It's going to be different things for different people. It's always a good time to stuff it. Stuff the pork. There will be plenty of pork to go around, including the money for new abortion, maybe writing off the student loans or portion of it or whatever. I don't know how writing $30,000 off the student loan stimulates the economy, but I could be wrong. But I'm just saying, if your student loan balance is $100,000 and the government writes off $30,000, that's like if I have a $100,000 mortgage and the government writes off $30,000 of it, my payment is still the same. I still have to make the payment. It's just my principal is smaller, but my payment doesn't change because that's calculated at the origination when I got the loan. So that doesn't help the economy, just adds to the red ink. But let's not be pessimists. Let's assume that this $2 trillion or whatever it's going to be is going to stimulate the economy and get the America back working. What are the long-term costs? Well, right now, our government is running about 23 trillion, that's with the T again, national debt. That means that is the amount owed by us to our creditors, whether they be Chinese, Japanese, our neighbors, our corporations, our mutual funds, our pension plans, whatever. There's a 23 trillion that someone loaned us that money, we're paying interest on it. Well, how much is an interest? Well, right now the government is paying about 2% interest on it. So 2% on 23 trillion, it's 460 billion a year. Wow, that's a lot of money. As a reference point, Social Security and Medicare are running about 600 billion a year, and national defense is about 700 billion, plus minus. So, at the current rate, we're going to be hitting 30 trillion debt in a couple of years. What does that mean to you young people? Well, quick math. If interest rate should rise by chance, and what are the chances of that when there's a lot of free money and interest rates are almost zero already? But play with me. So 30 trillion times, let's say the rates go up to 3% because inflation is coming. Wow, that's 600 billion a year. Well, that's equivalent to our Social Security or Medicare. Or it's actually more that the China spent on their national defense. So we kind of indirectly paying for their military too. If things would get really ugly, an interest rate hit 5%, 5% times 30 trillion, that's a $1.5 trillion. Well, that is defense, Social Security, and Medicare together. As a reference point, right now, our government collects about 3.8 trillion a year. That's all taxes, fees, import duties, and whatnot. 3.8 at the best of the economy. Of course, they spend more than that. They spend about 4.5 to 5 trillion because that's what they do. So, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this money is well spent, but I'm just suspicious when government is spending big money. I just don't think that turns out that well. But even if this is wisely used, the price of this is going to be horrific. And the young people, and especially anybody under, I don't know, 50, you got a rough ride ahead of you. So, good luck. So the $2 trillion that the Congress is voting on this morning is only a tip of the iceberg. Another problem is that the Federal Reserve and Treasury have basically told the banks, don't worry, just lend as much as you can, we'll cover you. Well, sounds good, but there's really not enough money to do that. Another thing that bothered me, what the Fed did, they just waived the minimum holding requirement. You know, right now the banks are required to hold certain percentage, up to 10% of their total deposits. They have to actually have that money in-house. They can't be lending them. They can't. Well, now just told them, Feds just told them, oh, go, just lend 100%. Don't worry about it. It's going to be great. So that usually doesn't turn out well, but I hope it does. So how are we going to pay for all this? Well, we can't. Honestly can't. Because even when they start taking 80% of what you make, that's not going to be enough. You can confiscate the wealth, Bill Gates and Musk and Buffett and the rest of them. That's nothing. That's a drop in a bucket, what we are talking about. So, good luck, America. Good luck. Just one other comment about the Congress. The way they're planning to pass this bill, now, this is interesting. They're calling it unanimous consent. Now, what does that mean? Constitutionally, in the House, there has to be minimum 218 member present to have a quorum. Now, if we have older female House Speaker that maybe she can't see that well. So she's looking at in the crowd, and she sees few people, but it looks like there's at least 218 of them there. She can call that unanimous consent, meaning they are unless there is an objection. But again, if there's only 2-3 people in the gallery of a same party in particular, no one objects. The vote is recorded as unanimous, which kind of works for both parties, because see, now they can say, well, if things turn ugly, they can say, well, I didn't vote for it. But if it turns good, they can say, well, you see, I voted for it. It was unanimous. It was great. We did a great job. So if there's no other lesson in this health crisis in America right now, I think that term limits make a lot of sense. And I would add to that, perhaps we should bring those people home, and they can work from home in their home district, in their home base. So all the lobbyists from Washington and K Street, they have to travel to, I don't know, North Dakota in January if they want to lobby for some legislation. So let's bring those people home, let them vote remotely. Wow, WebEx, done all the time in the business world, works great. And term limits, it does make sense. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Perhaps click on the subscribe button for my other videos, because I have a lot to say.